Hi, in this video I'll show you what I did to replace the sprockets and the chain on a 2018 Honda Grom or MSX 125. I got everything planned, the tools, the parts, it's all stock parts. I've written down instructions that I'm going to follow and yeah, let's do this. This Grom just came back from a 5,000 kilometer trip and the chain is in very bad shape. This is a 26,000 kilometer stock chain. It's never been replaced and we rode it until it got dangerously slack. When do you need to replace your chain? I don't know, maybe the manual says, but in this case the reasons for replacing it are quite simple. It started making a horrible grinding noise that got progressively worse. When I took it off, I could see that the pins were actually pretty badly worn. And maybe the first time was that there was variable slack, meaning if you checked slack along the length of the chain in different parts of the chain, it was either tight or very loose. Another reason is that it actually fell off almost at the end of the trip. Ada, my wife, who is the rider of this bike, hit a bump in the road, a small one, and it just fell off. So those are the reasons for replacing this. Also, it's 26,000 kilometers old, so it's way past replacing time. You may have noticed how clean this baby is. I just washed her. This is what we'll be replacing today. If you pause the video, you can make out the part numbers. Let me zoom in just a bit. That's the front sprocket, that's the rear sprocket, and that's the stock chain, including a master link. And a close-up of the parts: the drive sprocket, the rear driven sprocket, and the stock chain. And that's the master link. You'll need some wrenches. That's a 19 and a 14. That's the rear wheel nut, the rear wheel axle bolt. That's a 12 and a 10. Actually, these are 12 and 10 as well. You need open-ended wrenches like this for the chain adjustment nuts. And then that's an 8. You need that for the drive sprocket cover. You need an Allen wrench for the rear mudguard, and you need like these types of pliers with a pointy nose for the master link clip of the chain. You need gloves for your for your dirty bits, and I'll pack some grease in the dust seals. I'm going to remove the rear wheel, and that's some blue glue. I was getting ready to take off the rear mudguard, and I was surprised to see that I lost a bolt in the last 200 kilometers. I think I forgot to tighten it properly. Anyway, this is easy to remove. You got 3 bolts, one here, and one on the other side. That's a bit more difficult to get to because of the exhaust, and you need one of these. And then this one comes off. Moving on to the front sprocket cover, you need an 8mm socket wrench for this bolt, and there's another one down there. You need a tiny wrench for these. This one's just above the foot peg right there, and this one is over here. There's a cable clip up here that you're gonna need to remove from this side. Did I show you the gloves I was gonna use? There, much better. I switched to pink because pink looks better on camera. Now the blue ones were just a size too small for my paws. That's what the front sprocket looks like. That's a pretty beat up chain. We're going to be taking off these two 10mm bolts. As you try to unthread this, it's going to pull on the chain and try to move the bike forwards. As long as you keep it in place, it should be fine. That's one. That's the other one. I'm not gonna take these off all the way because I want to put the bike up on a stand, but before that I'm gonna loosen the rear axle as well. I'm gonna untighten the 19mm rear wheel nut. There. It's this one right here with the clip on it. This is my method. Now there's got to be better tools for this, but there you go. That was easy. Now I'm ready to put the bike up to raise the rear wheel and do the rest of this. This is the way I do it on wooden blocks. Let me show you what I meant by variable slack. So see how it's tight and then it gets looser, and now it's super loose. See? So it's very loose here and it gets progressively tighter until it's super tight. So this part is a lot more than the recommended 35mm slack, and this one is a lot less. You can even see the rear wheel locking up, sort of. Very dangerous way to ride. Don't do this. I'll loosen the chain adjuster nuts so we can move the wheel even further. This is the lock nut, a 10mm, and this is the other one that pushes, actually pulls the wheel backwards, a 12mm. Now I can move the wheel forward just as soon as I do the same on the other side. I loosened these chain adjusters and the 19mm on the other side of this axle, and now you can easily push the wheel forward. You have enough slack there to be able to remove this master link. Let's do that right now. This comes off, and then the master link itself, and then you can just do this and remove this old chain. Beautiful. Yeah, this is the old guy. That's what it looks like. And the garbage bin it goes. I don't know if we'll be able to see that on camera, but these pins of the master link, they're badly worn. My nail catches here. Very badly worn on the inside. Remove the 19mm nut and washer from the other side, and this one should easily come off. There you go. There's a spacer here that usually falls off, and I'll pack some grease in there as well. This is a dust seal. Mind the dangling caliper on the other side. I don't think that does any damage, but you know, you want to pull on it too hard. It's easy enough to avoid damage to the rim or the brake disc by propping the wheel up on wooden blocks, and then you can work on removing these 4 nuts that hold the sprocket in place. These are 14mm nuts. This hub is kind of moving. Is it supposed to do that? I'm not sure. Figure it out. invented this. Okay. What about this thing? Is it? It's supposed to do that, right? If you're curious to see what's under there, as I was, it's got these rubber thingies, like some sort of I don't know, maybe they absorb shock. And then there's this bit that spins with this ball bearing, and then there's another bearing here, and that's where the axle goes. I'll just clean this up a bit and put some grease in here, and that's it. You can clean this part if you want. I just went in there and wiped it good with paper towels. I think this part is really important. This is a rubber dust seal that doesn't allow particles to get into the bearings here. So maybe keep this part clean and then pack grease in here and then put the spacer back in. So that part's important. The rest is just, you'd need like Q-tips or a toothbrush or something to really get into those corners. And I can put this back in, nice and clean. I've put this back. There you go. Let's take a look at the old sprocket for a bit. I've wiped down these teeth up there. If there is damage to this sprocket, my untrained eye cannot see it. I do see like a slight bend that way, which makes sense. And it seems to be like a little bit everywhere, but I don't think that's a lot of damage. And I can't see, comparing it to the new one, I can't see big differences in the shape of the teeth, except for this slight wear towards the right. Old versus new. I'll pack some grease in here. That's my technique. I don't know how to bring the shine back to this spacer, so I'm just gonna leave it as is, but this part, the important part, is shiny. This is the part that goes in there. That's the part I want to make sure is nice and clean. New sprocket back on, 34 tooth. It says so right there, 34. And the bolts. These are, they're not bolts, they're nuts. These are nuts that have that auto locking thing inside them. Here to the front, helps them stay put. I guess you want that, you don't want them falling off. Pretty important nuts. These nuts. Okay. Hello. My 17-year-old cat. And I'll use a torque wrench to tighten these down to 32 Newton meters. Done. On the brake disc side, I've packed grease in there. I'm gonna put a spacer back in. gonna clean the disc with some brake cleaner. That was dirty. This is a good opportunity to clean the swing arm a little bit. I'm gonna try to slide the rear wheel back in. This process is pretty much all about alignment. You'll align, well, first you want to put this brake caliper back in its, there's like a metal boot. And then you'll align the brake disc within these brake pads, and then the axle to everything else. Cleaned the axle and applied a thin layer of grease. Got this spacer in. A few moments later, there. Washer and nut back on. Always wanted to do unboxing videos. Unboxing videos is not as easy as I would have imagined. But when you have the right tools, the master link. Oh, there's no clip. Oh, there is. Sorry. There is. And this beautiful thing, look at it. It's all nice and shiny. This part should be easy. Okay. Right. This is perfect because if you just move the wheel forward. Damn it. I didn't probably capture that on camera. Let me try that again. There. That's beautiful. I can just put the master clip, master link in there. At this point you may be thinking, isn't he supposed to replace the front sprocket as well? Yes, this was a test. This was a test and you passed. Yes, I'm supposed to remove the front sprocket as well. With the chain out of the way, just gonna remove these. I'm glad I weakened the bolts while the chain was on because it helps to untighten them. That's one, that's two, and then there's this thing that you just see. There, came out, and then this thing should come out, right? Okay, dirty sprocket. Dirty 15 tooth sprocket, stock. Oh, that's dirty. Quick comparison between the old and the new. This one has more wear. I don't know if that's noticeable, but at the top, the tooth, the space between the teeth that are now at the top, you can definitely tell that this has been worn more than usual. More than the rear sprocket, at least. Right, the front sprocket should be fairly easy to put in. The writing faces outwards. I'm gonna push it all the way in and then put this thing on top like that, and just rotate this bit until you can put the bolts in like so. And then the other one. Yep, there you go. I'm not gonna tighten those, I'm just gonna pull the chain over it now. You've already seen this part. Easy peasy. Come on. Okay. Yeah. There. Just stay there. I've got the new master link and this plate and this clip right here. Let's just do that. This should be easy enough to put in there. There. The writing goes on the outside. Right, the closed part is supposed to be facing the direction of travel of the chain. So this thing, right, there's an open part and a closed part, and it's supposed to go like this. So you slide this on there, and then using my pliers, I'm gonna try to put this thing back on. I am a Zen Buddhist in this moment. I know that this can be frustrating. Wait. Oh, look at that. Ta-da! That was easier than I expected. That's cool. Now I'm just gonna pull the wheel backwards to tighten the chain. Yes, that is 35 millimeters. That was also a test. You don't measure chain slack when the bike is up on a stand, you measure it when it's on its kickstand. And you have to adjust stuff this way. This is a half joke, meaning I did adjust it first while it was on the stand, and then I immediately realized you don't do it like that. That's beautiful. I learned this trick from someone else. You just stuff a rag in there slightly and just spin the wheel just a little bit. It'll tighten the chain entirely, and then pull the wheel forwards. So these are all the way in, right? And now you can tighten these up to the proper torque, which in this case is 59 Newton meters. There. The bike is not in gear, and I don't have a torque wrench that goes down to 12 Newton meters, so I'd say that's a 12. That's 11, and then that's a 12. Wait. Yeah, that's a 12. Remember, this thing wiggles, and that this is normal. Oh yeah, the chain grinding is gone, which is amazing. No other sound coming from it. Runs smooth as butter, as far as I can tell. That's so cool. And that was it. Grom sprocket and chain replacement. That's how you do it. As a bonus, I'm gonna give the Grom a new air filter as well. If you did want to take out the air filter, it's out here in the front. 1, 2, 3, 4 screws on this side. 5, 6, 7 screws total. And once you've taken out these 7 screws, you take out one more because there's 8 of them. They're symmetrical, 4 on each side. And you can pop this cover off like that. Check out our filter over there. Okay, that's not so bad. Does that need replacing? I'll take it out and see. There's another screw over here. And once that one's out, you can pull this bit just like that. Is this something you should be replacing? Tell me in the comments if you think this should be replaced for a chance to win my respect. Where's the oil back here? There is some oil back there, not enough to have dripped into this drain thingy here. This is perfectly clean, but there is some. I'm just gonna wipe it off. Well, when you look at them side by side, I guess it does need replacing. Yeah, I will replace it. Just slide the new one back there and then put this screw in. Stay. Make sure the filter is properly seated before you tighten this all the way in. It kind of tends to fall off. The front cover goes back on, and then all the other 8 screws. All done. Now we know how to change the air filter on a 2018 Grom. Oh shit, the chain fell off.